So, hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Houdini 4x64A versus Stockfish 1.0 Ya. So the first Stockfish version, and Houdini is white and Stockfish is black, and I let them play without opening book or table bases as always. And let's see what we get there. I let them play this position you see here on both sides of the board, and this arises after, this is a Ruy Lopez position, which arises after this moves right here. So pretty standard stuff so far. And here, this is a position arised in the game of Tata Steel 2020 between Alireza Firouzja with the white pieces versus Magnus Carlsen. Alireza played here the move d5 and lost the game after the moves c6, c4, and yeah, here I just quickly show you the games. Here you see that Magnus quickly Magnus' pieces were standing better quickly. Here the knights on f6 and c5, they are pretty nice knights. The bishop on a6 is pretty good. Black's bishops are not that great, white's bishops are not that great, and also now the other bishop is pretty strong, the bishop on g7, on h6 now. And here Alireza didn't know what to do, played the knight back and forward. Now he cashed out with g3 because he didn't want to wait till he is losing, so he tried something, but after this one he resigned, because if knight takes, then knight takes here, check, picking up the bishop. If king takes, then the knight is hanging, and if rook takes, then the knight is also hanging. So here Alireza would lose a piece, so he resigned the game. Yeah. Stockfish is currently thinking about the move. D5 is not the greatest move ever. There is the move b4, there is the move b3 in the position which I quickly discovered before, and Houdini is thinking about a4. So let's try and see the implications of a4. Of course, taking, probably bishop takes, attacking the rook, and then knight d7. So let's quickly dive into this. Knight d7. Is it that bad for black? Knight to d7. Here maybe I would go b4 to keep this pawn on a6, which is a weak backward pawn. Can maybe build up on it, but it's pretty difficult. It's playable, I think, for both sides. The line which Houdini gives is after a4, knight d7 immediately, and then bishop c2 to d3, attacking the pawn, and after queen b8, the move b3. So this is what Houdini gives. Because queen b8, there is a little trick. If takes, for example, pawn takes, bishop takes, there's bishop takes pawn here, and it doesn't matter with what you take, the bishop here is hanging. So this is the trick here after queen b8, so that's why b3 is the main move there. I would take rook takes, probably okay, but then bishop to here. Okay, rook goes, let's say, to this square. The queen is still covering the pawn as well as the knight. Then takes, and d5 maybe. Although d5, I don't know. Knight here. Where's the knight going? Knight doesn't have many squares. It can even be kicked around like that. But this is a little bit too much, I think. So for white, so knight h5, g4, knight here. White is a little bit too, how should I say, too, if g4, then this is really weakening. Then black could break out with h5, for example. But let's see, the knight is otherwise coming to that square right here, so you can prevent this with knight f1. So now the bishop covers this square. Could try and go f6, but then d6. Also the other option is queen there, attacking the bishop. Well, the bishop moves back, and now knight f1. White seems to be better there, so probably not taking. So playing something else, then taking. Still haven't got the move there. D takes e5 is now preferred by Houdini, which is a different approach than this, but a4 is thematic move as well. D takes, pawn takes, and now what next? D takes, pawn takes, and queen e2. What's the idea behind this? Queen e2, c5. Let's follow this through. c5, a4, again a4. Queen b6. Queen b6. I would go a5 here. Queen b6 and rook cd, rook ed1. Rook ed1. With knight bd7, followed up with knight bd7, and Houdini's assessment of the position. He should make a move at some point because his time is ticking. Already a couple of minutes passed. So knight cd1, covering the pawn, connecting rooks. Here I would go b4. b4. If takes, then you have a nice square on b2 with the bishop. So if takes, then bishop b2, and this is a nice diagonal for this bishop. Okay, it can be countered with bishop g7, but okay. Houdini took his time, played this d takes, so b4. I will close the position with that move. And now knight f1. This pawn is still covered twice because of the queen and everything, and the bishop, and now this bishop has some scope. So probably bishop e3 is nice, hitting the queen. Bishop e3 is nice, hitting the queen. What is black doing? This knight to f4 maybe. Okay, you're bringing the rooks to some other square, and that is covering the pawn anyway, so let's say rook here just to do anything. Bishop there, and now takes, rook takes, giving up the a file, but knight here. Okay, black should be fine there if this occurs. So probably not taking, probably not this, probably something else, probably a knight here immediately. But what is this knight actually doing there? Or the other option I just spotted is this, so enabling the knight to move, because then bishop b6 would come. Having a strong grip over the dark squares. Okay, but here this pawn would hang, so rook there, bishop here, and now you have to play knight there to protect this pawn. So bishop takes, probably something like this, adding some pressure to the knight. Bishop g7. No, I will prefer my bishop there. So let's say rook c8. This is quite sensible play for both sides. I think the position should be around even. Let's see what both engines think about it. Thinking about it. Around even. Both engines giving this as even. Okay, but yes, as I expected, the first move from Alireza Firouzja, here he played the move d5, is a mistake, or at least not the best move. I don't know if d takes e5 is the best move, but according to Stockfish, b4 is the best move, or b3 or something like this, but there are options in that position. Maybe d takes e4, e5 is a great move, but okay, let's see. D takes c5 and queen e2 followed up with c5. So this is also what Deep Junior, what Stockfish gives us the main line. Should be nice for both sides. a5 is wrong. Knight g3 takes, bishop takes, rook c8. So let's find a plan here. Okay, this pawn is slightly weak. This rook c8 has, I think white is better here, just because of this two weak pawns, and I will go knight here to just put pressure on this pawn. Okay, knight here just defends it. No, doesn't, because bishop takes, pawn takes, and now knight takes, here attacking the queen, also attacking this pawn right here, so the queen has to return back, but now knight a4 attacking the bishop and now pushing the passed pawn. Although queen here attacking the knight, not so clear. You cannot really move the knight because the c-pawn would hang. So bishop here, covering the knight. The other option is also quite no, it's not. Bishop. Well, anyway, you could also go rook takes, and if the rook takes, go knight here, because now queen takes is met with knight takes bishop attacking the rook, and also now you have lost a piece. So this is also quite interesting. So what did just happen? So knight here is a mistake. What else can you do? Maybe knight e8. Try and go for f5 for knight e3, and then f5, and also add some more defenders to this pawn here. What's the thing there? What about eliminating this knight? Then rook takes. Let's try something else. Eliminating this knight. Rook takes. Knight takes here. Queen takes. Queen takes. No, not queen takes. Knight takes here. Rook takes there. Rook takes there. Queen takes there. Queen takes there. Rook takes there. Rook here. Attacking the knight. Doesn't really matter where the knight moves. Then bishop here comes. And now you have severe problems. You have to give back the piece and go into this worse position. Oh, I don't know if it's worse. Knight takes, rook takes, and now no, knight here. Knight here is a great move because bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, rook takes. Still 4, 5 versus 5. d5 takes, takes, bishop here, rook there, queen there. Interesting stuff. Probably something like even. At least, anyway, I don't know. Rook here, rook there. I think it's around even this position, but it's a nice little tactical shot. This kind of stuff here. Knight takes c5. But after all is said and done, this rook takes d1, rook takes d1. Queen takes, rook takes, rook here attacking the knight. Knight here and bishop there, knight there. Rook takes. Yeah, this is the other line. Bishop takes h6 is also possible. Bishop takes there. Because I'm not quite sure. Bishop takes here loses due to that move. Now there is nothing to do anymore. Next move there is a checkmate on the board. So this doesn't work. So you kind of have to take the bishop now. Bishop takes h4 and now taking there, taking there. This kind of stuff seems to me as a draw. Maybe slightly better for black, but I don't think there is anything here. King is coming in here, and then the knight can move, and everything should be fine for white. But it's an interesting line here. c5 on the board in the actual game. So currently we're at that board position right here. Not rook d. Rook d1 is an option. a4. So this is the current board position. a4 could be the move soon. Let's see. Both engines are giving the same moves as top moves. So yeah. But it's a completely different game than the other one. Knight g3, pawn takes, bishop takes, rook takes, knight here. Now knight e8, bishop takes, rook takes, knight takes. I just like this line here. Knight takes, rook takes d1, rook takes, knight takes, and rook here, knight f6 and bishop there. This is a cool line. If this bishop takes h6, rook takes, c5. I wonder if there is something like here. I don't see it. Bishop takes h6 is forced. Takes, rook takes b4. You could go after the b pawn, but it kind of doesn't really matter. Exchange of prisoners. I don't see anything here. I think this is, yeah, it should be fine for both sides. Probably better for black. So maybe knight takes c4 is not, well, it's actually, it's not better. Taking off this knight is not, this idea is not better for white. It's equal. You don't want a pawn there, but what else can you do? Knight takes. Oh, you could go knight takes immediately, actually, because after rook takes, rook takes, rook takes, you have this one. Takes, takes, attacking the knight. But still, you don't get anything out of it, because the b pawn is still pretty terrible, and now you also have the threat of this. So this is better for black. This is better for black because you lose the e-pawn. So knight e8 is a playable move. With their idea knight d6 and f5 maybe. Also with knight d6 you kind of have more defenders of the c-pawn, and you kind of attack the pawn on e4 again. So what can you do there? Bishop g4 doesn't do so much because of this. And also if you go f5 and bishop goes back here, kind of have knight f6 back, with the difference that now the pawn is on f5 and this diagonal is weakened. So maybe rook here is a threat after this one. Okay, you kind of move, you have to go back with a knight, but now I have some nonsense move. For example this, now you have knight takes here, because after queen takes you have this bishop b3 finishing the game, so you have to do something against this. This is not a threat, and it's not so easy to parry this knight takes c4. Well, actually it is. You can just go aside with the king, either to probably to g7 is better. Also threatening some h6 g5 moves, which would trap the bishop, and it's actually hard to get out of this. It's actually quite hard to get out. Now, well, you can always take the knight. Kind of have to take the knight. You should probably take it immediately. Now the other knight comes here. Don't really get anything from taking this. f3, knight f3, going after that pawn. No. Yeah, black's position is fine here. Probably better. So probably you kind of, after knight e8, kind of have to settle for a draw with this knight takes c4. No, with this bishop, no, not bishop g5, with this bishop takes d7, rook takes d7, knight takes d4, rook takes d1, and you kind of have to go for this. Yeah. So this is the analysis I gave to that position. But okay, we have a different move here. So probably because of this or something like this. We have a different move here. Instead of rook d1, or instead of a4 even, we have the move b3. Trying to get the bishop to b2. Knight d7, c4, knight h5. Knight d7, c4, knight h5 is what Houdini gives. So let's explore this. Yeah, c4 is kind of nice. Okay, the knight wants to come to f5, hitting the queen. So let's say knight f1. So if knight f5, you can swap it off. Well, what's the line? Oh, or g3. g3 looks weakening, but it prevents the knight from coming there. And after g3, bishop c6. Okay, if takes, then bishop takes, hitting the queen. Well, this is very subtle stuff, going against the opponent's plans. Let's explore bishop b2. Going after that pawn, maybe even f6 here, or bishop g7. Bishop g7 looks more natural. Maybe the rook can come back afterwards, and you can go for f5, 5f4. That's interesting. Also, the route of this knight is interesting, going there to d5. There are a lot of plans in this position. So yeah, b3. Knight c6 is what Stockfish is planning. Knight c6. Knight c6, so that after c4 you can maybe jump in there, and after takes you can get a pass pawn. For example, d takes, and now this pawn is under scrutiny. Okay, you can push it, but this doesn't help. There is no threat to the knight because the queen is here. So knight c6 is also quite interesting, going to d5 after c4, and now a4. Maybe, but then b4. a4, b4, a takes b4, knight takes b4, hitting the bishop. Bishop b1. Another knight can jump to c4, hitting the e pawn. Yeah, this is pretty nice stuff. So the Ruy Lopez is a really rich opening. Just wanna see the opening now again to understand it a little bit. Okay, this is clear. d3, d6, d6, c3. Why c3? Why not castle? Okay, d3. Now there is a threat to the e pawn, so you have to defend it. d6. Now c3. Why not bishop g4? Why not bishop g4? Probably because of h3, bishop there, and now knight d2. Maybe even with the plan knight f1 to g3 immediately instead before castling, because it's one move faster. Let's go through a little bit through that. Bishop goes back, bishop e7, knight f2, castles, knight g3, bishop g3. It's a completely different game, but white has the option of pushing the h-pawn as well, but I don't think this is good. Well, anyway, maybe it is. h4 threatening h5, so either h5 or h6. Let's say h6, h5, and this one. And now you can safely castle and play d4 in 1, because this pawn is defended. And yeah, it's playable stuff, I think. So let's continue with the actual game. h3, bishop e7, castles. Oh, okay, I tried to understand this. Bishop here. Okay, bishop g4 would be the same. Bishop. Okay, now it's different. Why not bishop g4 now? So let's go h3, knight here, knight there, b5, bishop here, castles, rook there, rook there. Let's just put, okay, the knight is coming to g3 anyway, and then you have lost a couple of moves with the bishop, and you probably have to give it up for the knight anyway. So it's playable, I think, but I don't see the reason why you should do that. So castles, rook here, rook there, knight d2, bishop there, h3. Finally, g5 for a3, takes e5, d takes e5, queen here c5, b3, knight c6, and now we had the move knight f1. Probably preparing knight e3 to d5, also clearing the way for the rook, so the rook can come to the e file. It's pretty nice here for white. Let's see both evaluations. Both engines are giving this as even Steven, so no real advantage for either side. So let's see who is playing better and what are the ideas of this opening. I also don't see why white should be better. Knight f1, b4, queen a5 is what Stockfish thinks, and after bishop g5 attacking the knight, bishop g7, and now knight e3, letting the pawn drop. Okay, the pawn drops, but now you have bishop takes, and now knight d4, threatening a fork and the bishops and the queen. Oh, it's a fork already, so this doesn't work. So you can't take the pawn because of bishop takes and knight d5 forking. So line continues after bishop g7, knight e3, and knight c6 to e7. Knight c6 to e7, defending both pawns, and now there is a threat to the pawn, although you can let it drop. No, wait, what? There is knight e3, knight e7, and bishop takes f6, knight e7, oh, knight e7, stopping this, and now bishop takes, and now there is this hanging pawn. You can go b4, queen goes back, and now you could take it. A lot of options there, but this is also interesting. This queen a4, bishop g5, let's see, this was again a little thing where those engines disagree with each other. So knight queen a5, according to Stockfish the best move, according to Houdini maybe second or third best move, but it's interesting. Bishop g5, bishop g7, b4, bishop g7, and now b4 according to Houdini. b4, queen c7, knight e3, queen c7, knight e3, and knight e3, this is logical because you want to go to d5. I will go knight back to stop knight d5, or I will grab, and go rook there. But after, okay, takes, knight takes here, you have this one. Another threat, there is no threat, white is just better in that position. So rook c8 is a little bit too slow. Knight here maybe. Knight takes. Still the b pawn is on the threat. Okay, knight g4 attacking the bishop that way. Bishop moves back. And now queen here defending the pawn. So let's say rook there. Knight here check, bishop takes, queen takes, and now knight g4, and there is a mate in 2 threatened, which cannot be prevented anymore. So this is also quite interesting. Knight g4 in that position. Knight g4, knight g4, bishop g7 and bishop here. Queen there, knight here. What about... Okay, you kind of have to keep protecting this pawn. So you do. But now the knight is coming in here, threatening a checkmate over there. And if bishop takes and knight takes, check. Okay, the king can go there. Now the queen is threatened as well as the knight, as well as the c-pawn, so this doesn't work. Knight g5 is a little bit too much. Oh, you could maybe go knight here, and now you have to take this knight, and now queen takes check. You have to go there. But now white is still down a piece, and there is no mating attack. So bishop g5, bishop g7 we have on the board. So let's see what we get there. This is the current board position. Knight e3. Still covering the pawn with a tactic. Knight d7. No, not knight d7. Knight e7. Bishop takes b4. Queen b4. Knight e3 is the preferred option. Interesting stuff, this game. Really very interesting. What are the ideas in that position? Knight e3, knight e7, let's say. Bishop takes, but how did I continue? b4, queen back, b4. You can also take and queen d7. But queen here is annoying. There are a lot of annoying options for white now. So knight e3, not bishop takes knight e3. Both engines are giving knight e3, but after knight e3, knight d8 is the move according to Houdini, and knight d7 according to Stockfish, or this first version of Stockfish. So there are differences. It's not like they always give the same move. So let's see, 5 minutes. Knight e7, bishop takes, and knight g4. Yeah, this was the thing. Bishop takes, knight g4. This was the idea, followed up with that one. How did I continue from there? Oh, you can do it immediately. It protects the pawn. You don't have to go b4 first. You can do it immediately. And now black could be in danger. There is this knight h6 lurking around. With knight g4. But there is still the bishop, which is defending quite well. So let's see if we see knight e7 or knight d8. Knight e7, bishop takes f6 and b4, queen c7 and c4 even. So there is a different plan entirely. After bishop takes knight, b4, queen c7, c4, b4, queen c7, c4. What about takes? takes, takes, knight takes, going after that pawn. This pawn is covered. Okay, this pawn is covered as well. Rook c8 and bishop there. Followed up with rook to the c file. For queen c7 a4. So white is slowly but surely increasing the pressure. Plus 0.45 now. No major mistakes by Stockfish, but Houdini is just the better engine, I guess. Yeah, there are a lot of ideas in this middle game. Figuring out what's the best idea is very difficult. And also this stuff with a6, bishop here, all this stuff is so precise till that point. d5 is not so precise, but d takes e5, d takes queen e2, a4 is a move, b3 is a move, knight c6, knight f1, queen a4, b4, knight e3. There are so many options. Knight e7, bishop takes, and now b4. Knight g4 was also an option. Queen c7 and now c4. C takes b, c takes b, c takes b, knight takes. Could also try and go into a queen endgame, into an endgame, or in a queenless middle game. Bishop here, trying to go after the b pawn, but now knight here going after the bishop. Bishop back, knight takes, bishop takes. No. After knight here, you kind of have to take this. Then rook takes, going after this pawn. Or at least adding some pressure to that one, adding some pressure to that one. So, but black has a bishop pair, so also this is possible for white. But I think knight takes will be played here in that position instead of queen takes. But I just wanted to see this endgame. Knight takes c4. c4 is the move here. Stockfish on 10 minutes, Houdini on 4 minutes. So Houdini is better on time. So many possible ideas in this game. It's unbelievable. So c takes b4. This, I guess, this will be the board push. Oh, queen takes c4. Queen takes c4. Knight takes c4. Going into that endgame. This is what Stockfish thinks. Houdini thinks of no endgame quite yet. C takes b4, a takes b4. Wait, did I? Yeah, c takes, a takes, c takes, queen takes. This is what Stockfish gives. I like knight takes more. Have to say that. Rook a5. This is what Stockfish gives there. Why exactly? Okay, this pawn can wait. What about that? Protecting the pawn. Knight d4, knight takes. No, not rook takes. Pawn takes. No, this pawn is under scrutiny. No, it's not. Why rook a5? I don't understand this. Rook a5. A takes c4. A takes b4 was played. B takes c4 and A takes b4 was played. B takes c4. Rook a5, knight c6. Rook a5. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Oh, the idea is after rook there to play the rook here, and after queen b8, let's say rook takes, no. Here in that case you take with the queen, and after queen, pawn takes, and you have this passed a pawn, and after rook here you go knight there attacking the bishop, and after knight takes you go pawn takes, and you have two connected passed pawns here versus the outside h pawn. So that's the idea, which is ingenious, have to say that. Yeah, this pawns will be winning, so that's why knight c6 is here the main move, just hitting the rook. So instead of rook c8, just knight c6 will be played, hitting the rook. But now still rook there. Or you don't even have to, you can go knight d5. And after rook here, you can go rook there. Okay, knight takes, doesn't work due to this fork. So rook here, pinning the knight. Bishop here, knight takes, queen takes. It's so complicated. Knight takes, queen takes. Now you have to go rook here, knight there. Bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes, rook takes check, queen here. No, here you spoiled it. Here black is better, much better. Rook here, knight here, bishop takes, rook takes. You should go pawn takes if you want to have some winning chances alive. d6. Oh no. E takes d5. Now you have to go rook takes, and now you can go there. And after this, that knight here takes, not here, takes, rook takes, rook here, rook there, queen there, queen there, queen takes, rook takes. At least you have some. It should be a draw, this position. Rook c5 is played instead of knight d5. I think knight d5 is a little bit. After knight d5, it's you don't gain anything from knight d5, so rook c5, just pinning the knight. Knight d5 can be played anyway, but now you regain the pawn, but with more pressure and more piece play. So yeah, Houdini is, both engines are now much better for white, or at least better for white. So this maneuver, not recapturing the pawn immediately, was pretty strong. Rook c5, capturing with the queen, playing knight c5, it's very good. Rook e c8 has been played, and now queen takes c4. Knight d5. White is just better here. White is just better here. Queen takes c4, bishop e7. Well, bishop e7, attacking the rook. Where is the rook going? Rook here, knight d5. Queen takes. You have this knight takes in between if you want to inflict structural damage, but oh, you don't have to move the bishop. You can just double on the e-file. No, you don't. You cannot, because the rook is hanging. Let's see, rook there. No, this is completely terrible due to that. So what is after this one? Rook here, knight d5. Okay, rook here, knight d5. Okay, the queen is protected, so you can catch this knight. And if queen takes, you have queen takes, and if rook takes, rook here, pawn takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, e3, rook there, d3. Not sure, 5 against 4, but this pawn is pretty strong. But okay, you can just forget about the pawn is dead. So maybe, because rook here doesn't do so much, because the other rook can take this. Now rook takes, and you are up a pawn in this rook endgame, maybe winning. Oh wow, this is possible. Yeah, I forgot that. I forget my thing. This is possible. Knight here attacking the queen and the bishop, so eliminating the bishop. Queen d8, and now eliminating this pesky bishop. Queen d8, rook cd1 even. Queen d8, rook ed1. Bishop takes c5. Bishop takes c5, pawn takes c5. And now queen f8. Yeah, you can get the piece back with that. The exchange back with that fork. Oh wow, this knight on d5. This knight on d5 is just a monster. Looking in all directions, looking towards the king side and towards the queen side, backwards, forwards, side, in every direction. This is a monster knight. White is completely winning there. Or not completely, but rook ed1. Bishop d6 is the move according to Houdini, but I think the longer I look at that position, the better it gets for white. Still holdable for black, but maybe holdable for black, but it's not great, this position. It's not great. d8. King g7. Because knight f6 is the threat, winning the queen. Knight f6 check, winning the queen is the threat. So both engines have to play faster now. King g7, knight f6. Knight d5, f6. Yeah, knight f6. Anyway, hitting the queen. Hitting the queen with the rook. This move was played instantly. Queen f8. Now the rook is threatened as well as the knight. Knight here hitting the queen again. And now full king. And then for king. Queen e8. And now bishop c4. Keeping it. Wow. Bishop c4, this is a demonstration of tactics. Takes. Queen takes. And now what do you do with that knight? Okay, you can move it. So queen takes is probably wrong. Probably pawn takes. Now there's the threat of this fork, so let's put this fork away, attack the knight. No, knight takes, attacking the bishop. So okay, now going after the defending the bishop. Knight takes bishop, takes, and now bishop takes here, attacking the queen. No, this doesn't work. Why is this a move? Why is this even a move? Okay, it's went too fast now. Cannot analyze anymore. So I'm just gonna watch. And queens came off. The ending I have to investigate a little bit more, but now both engines are giving this as completely winning for white, as you might expect. Bishop takes g6, pawn takes g6. Bishop takes c5. Four versus 4 pawns, but up the exchange. So Houdini played a very, very interesting game there. In the end, was a completely nice game in the end. But Stockfish still with the bishop pair, so it's not so easy to crack this. And with the outside a pawn. So for a human, it's not so simple to win this, actually. Probably for a grandmaster it should be winning, but for human, let's see the technique. Right here attacking the bishop. Bishop should move to c6, c7. Now this pawn drops. 3 versus 3. Now it's a simple win, I think. Not simple, but it's a win for white. Move 45 for Stockfish. rook a3 maybe, or rook a8, something. Going behind the pawns here in this endgame. Let's see if black can hold a draw here. I doubt it. White is even up on time. King d5 now. King d4. Rook f8. Yeah, rook f8 would have won a pawn after king d4, so that's why king went back. Rook b8, a waiting move, and going out of this diagonal, which would fork the king and the rook. So now this check comes anyway. King g3. A little bit toying around. King goes there. f3 now, next pawn move coming up. Oh, rook f8. Going after the f8 pawn. This is a fortress, so now rook there, trying to go h4 or kicking the king. h4, rook h6. Rook h6 chosen. Yeah, well, how to crack this fortress black has. I'm not sure if this is winning for white. think it's a draw. There's no way of cracking this. F5. Wow. Stockfish is trying to lose it with F5. I think now it should be over. Rook there. No, it should still be a draw. There's only one pawn break. This is the h4 pawn break. h4 finally. Now those pawns are dropping off. Now it's definitely over. Yeah, this h4 should have come much earlier. But let's see. Houdini won. Beautiful game. And I have only one question, which is around here. Bishop there, f6, queen. Bishop there, f6, queen. Oh, yeah. This is the whole point of it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for watching, and take you to the game end position, and thanks for watching, and see you next time. Ciao. Wait, I want to see something. Anyway, I think this is a win. This is probably a win. Okay. This is the game end position here. Next pawn is dropping. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.